Hello, Frederick Douglass Elementary School students. My name is Mrs. Shupard, your art teacher, and the reason I'm here today is because we're going to be starting something called remote learning. And remote learning is something that some schools have already been doing and Frederick Douglass has never done before. So remote learning is something that you do when you can still learn without going to the actual school building. So this is going to be perfect for quarantine. So you can't leave your house or you can't go in the school building. You can still be learning from home. Some schools do all remote learning, and those schools, they do all of their classes online. So for example, my brother, he got his college degree from an online school. He went to Penn State World Campus, and World Campus means that anybody in the whole world can get their college degree from Penn State by going and taking online classes. So you would talk to your teachers and you would talk to your classmates all through the internet, and you would take your classes and do your assignments and take your tests all through the internet. So that is something that we're going to try to do at Frederick Douglass because of the quarantine. So we are going to be having your teachers teach you through something called Zoom. And Zoom is going to be something where you can actually talk to your teacher and talk to your classmates through the computer and through the internet. Because the specials teachers have so many students, we teach all the students in the whole school, it would be a little bit difficult to do a Zoom meeting with 500 kids. So the reason why the specials teachers aren't using Zoom is because it would be a little bit tricky to do it with so many people at the same time. So what we're going to do for specials, for art and PE and music and for media, we are going to be putting up YouTube videos. And this is my first YouTube video for remote learning. And this lesson is going to be about drawing birds. So let's go ahead and get started. Here are 3 different examples of birds, and I'm going to show you how to draw each kind of bird, and then that way, depending on your ability level, you'll be able to draw the kind of bird that you're familiar or that you're comfortable with drawing. So we'll start with the easiest one and we'll work our way up. This bird right here, and actually most birds that you would draw, they usually start out with the same shape. And the bird's body is not really a circle, it's not really an oval, it's kind of its own shape. So if you get a blank piece of paper and you start drawing the body of the bird, and actually in this case it's the head and the body are just one big shape. So I usually draw the top of the head and then down the back first, and then you curve around and you make the belly, which is going to stick out a little bit, going to be rounded. So think of the back as being kind of more straight and the belly being more rounded. And when you're drawing a bird, remember they always have a tail. So when you come around to the back, when you connect these two sides, when you're connecting the back of the bird and the belly of the bird, they kind of meet back here in the tail area, maybe kind of almost like a point. And you could always add some tail feathers, and the easiest way to do that would just be to do 3 little bumps, like a little tail or tail feathers. Remember that a bird's beak is super easy because it's just a triangle. So the beak of the bird could be up here. You could make a larger triangle, or if that kind of looks a little bit too big to me, so you could always erase a little bit and make that beak a smaller triangle. The size of the beak for your bird is really up to you. For the eye, for this bird, the easiest way that we're going to do is just a little curved line, almost like if you were drawing a smiley face. You could have a little curved line for the eye, and it kind of makes it look like he's closing his eye. Maybe he's concentrating on his song that he wants to sing. And then for the wing of this bird, the easiest bird that we're drawing today, the wing is just going to be almost like a teardrop. If you were drawing a teardrop, it would be this shape, but we're going to kind of do it a little bit sideways and upside down. So your teardrop would go this way, and that will be the wing of the bird. And remember, if you can't do your teardrop going upside down and sideways, you can always turn your paper, draw the teardrop, and then turn your paper back around. For the legs of our easy bird, we're not even going to draw the legs, we're just going to draw lines. So 2 straight lines for those legs, and then 2 little tiny lines for the feet. And that's how you can draw the easiest kind of bird that we're going to draw today. For the next one, I'm just going to turn my paper over because I can use the back. Remember, when you're drawing at home, it doesn't have to be a blank white piece of paper. It could be any colored paper. It could be any type of paper that maybe you have math problems on one side, but you have a blank space on the back. So you can always be drawing on the back of things to save paper, or if you just don't have any blank paper at your house, you could always use different kinds of paper. And also what I've done in the past, I've used cardboard. Let's say you finished your cereal box and now your cereal box is empty. You could always cut that apart, and you could always draw on the inside of that cereal box, because that's going to give you a nice big surface for drawing. On the inside there, it's going to be blank cardboard. So we're going to draw the next bird here, which is, I guess, the medium level of difficulty, and it's still actually not that difficult. So you are going to start again with that same shape. It's almost the same shape as this bird, where you have not a circle, not an oval, but the little birdie body. So you're going to start with the head. I don't know why, but I always start with the head. So that's just going to be rounded at the top. It's going to come down for the back, and it's almost straight like we did on the other one, but it kind of curves back as it goes towards the tail. And the birdie belly, again, you go down and you make it kind of curved, because this is going to be his belly here, and you don't want that part to be flat. So this is kind of more straight, and again, we're rounding the belly, and then we're working our way back to the tail. And the tail is almost got like a point on the back. And for the beak, again, same thing is, you can remember it's always a triangle. And same thing, you can do a big triangle, a little triangle. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be your choice. And for this medium difficulty bird, we're going to do a little bit of feathers coming out the top of his head, almost looks like hair. And you can always erase a little bit here if you want it to look like it's connected to his head. Instead of having the line across here, you could always erase that and make it look like the hair is sprouting out the top of his head. For the wing, it's the same teardrop shape again, but this time we're going, instead of making it right in the middle, we are going to draw it so that it is almost connected to the tail back here. So here's my teardrop, almost following the same line as the back, and it's coming around right back here to the tail where the point of the teardrop would be. And the eye for this one's gonna be a little bit more difficult, but really not that hard. It's just an oval. And when you draw the oval, you're gonna draw a little tiny oval on the inside so that you can have like a little bit of the reflection of the light on the eye. And then just take your pencil and shade in all around that little oval so that the eye is mostly dark. If you see a bird in real life, their eyes are usually, they kind of just look dark. They're kind of like black almost, just like a little beady eye. So we're gonna do a little white part in here to kind of make it look like the light is reflecting off of that little eye. All right, for the legs of our bird, this time there's gonna be a little bit more difficult. It's gonna be 2 straight lines down, and then it's going to have the little toes this time. Instead of just 1 little line for the feet, this time we're gonna do 3 little lines to make it look like little birdie toes. Okay, so that is how you do the medium difficulty bird. And now we are going to move on to the last one, which is the hardest one. And the reason why it's the hardest is because there's more details. So when you're learning how to draw, and I've said this before in school, that the more difficult it is because it has more detailed. But when you add more details, it makes it look more realistic. So out of the 3 birds that we were drawing today, this one looks the most realistic. So if you're going to be drawing the hardest bird, you're going to start with a curved head again. And it's actually a little bit smaller than the other 2 because the body kind of has its own shape. So instead of the body and the head kind of being all one shape like the other 2 that we did, this is kind of just the head and the body is all one shape. And the same for the easy one. The head and the body is all one shape together. But now we're going to be doing the head and the body kind of a little bit separate. So we want this little piece of the head up at the top, and then we go down into the body, and the back again is going to be somewhat straight. And then we're going to draw the head curving around. And we don't have to worry about the beak yet. Remember, we add that later. So we're going to just go right into the belly, which is going to be rounded again down here. Oh, and you can see sometimes I kind of go into a sketching. Remember, the difference between sketching and drawing is that when you're just drawing 1 straight line. But if you're sketching, you're kind of all these little tiny lines, and it sometimes for artists it helps you to get the shape that you need. And then you curve it all the way back up and you connect it to the back where we have the back of the bird here. And we're going to make more of a tail this time. I think what I want to do is have the back curve out, and I want to have the bottom curve up and create more of a tail back here. All right, and now I want to do the wing. So I'm going to start the wing kind of at the bottom of where the head would be. So let's just say this is the bottom of where the head would be. And the wing on our detailed bird is going to start at the back, and it's actually going to look kind of like it's connected to the back. Because if you've ever seen a bird in real life, when it folds its wings down, it just folds right up against its body. And we're going to come down here. So this time we're not really making a teardrop. The teardrops on the other wings were kind of more just the shape that would help you to draw the wing. But in this case, we're going to attach it to the back here and have it curve around. So it's almost like half of a circle. And then that way our wing is going to connect back almost to where the tail is. And then I'm going to add this little line right here that would be kind of like where the bottom of the head would be. And for the beak, remember in the other drawings that we did, the beak is a triangle, and we're going to do a triangle again, but since we're adding more details this time, once you have the triangle, I want you to draw a line that cuts through the middle of the triangle. That way, you're going to have the top beak, the top part of the beak, and you're going to have the bottom part of the beak so that it could open and close. So it's adding those little details that's going to make your artwork look more real. So again, we're going to do just an oval for the eye. We're not going to make the eye really any more detailed than what we had before. So it's a larger oval with a smaller oval in between. And then we shade around and make everything dark except the little oval. And then for the feet, this time we want to make the feet look a little bit more real. So instead of just little sticks, we're gonna actually make it look like he's kind of like bending his knee on this one. So we're gonna draw 2 lines that go out. And here's his little knee, but their birdie knees, they kind of go backwards. Our knees bend in the front, and their knees bend in the back. So when you look at a little bird, they bend back here for their knee. Then a bird has kind of like that little toe that goes backwards, and then it has a few toes that go forwards. The easiest way to do these is just maybe like a zigzag line, or you can think of it as like 3 little triangles. And those 3 little triangles in the front will connect back to your little triangle in the back. And then this one, you can't really see his knee because it's covered by his body. And you draw 2 lines for the second leg and then a little toe in the back. And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3 again in the front. And you know what? I made that first toe a little too big, so I'm just going to erase it and fix it. So try it again. 1, 2, 3, and now we can connect it back. And then that kind of makes it look almost like little hands or like little claws. And then that is our more difficult bird is finished. But when you get to this point in your bird drawing, then that's when you will be able to add patterns. So you might have noticed when I had my first drawing that his wing had a few patterns on it. So I'm just going to add a bumpy line right here, and I'm going to add some stripes. What I want to show you now is how to draw some birds that are overlapping. And overlapping is one of the words that I've taught you in the past, so we're just going to review how to do overlapping. When you're drawing your birds and you're going to be overlapping, and you already know that you're going to be overlapping, the smartest thing to do is to draw very lightly, because we are going to be erasing some of the parts that we draw. You're gonna start off drawing a bird whichever way you want him to be facing, and we'll just use one of our easy bird drawings so that everybody can join us for the overlapping portion of this lesson. So this one is one of the ones that we did at the beginning of the video, and I have him facing this way. If you want to have another bird that is overlapping, remember overlapping means that part of your bird is going to be covering up part of another bird. So let's say I want to have another bird over here, and I am drawing his beak and his eye and his wing, and I'm drawing everything as if I was drawing the whole entire bird. But as you can see, it gets a little messy here because you can see two birds at the same time. And if it's overlapping, technically if this bird was standing in front of this bird, you wouldn't be able to see this part of the bird right here. So what you're going to need to do is take your eraser and erase the lines from this bird that you wouldn't be able to see if this bird was standing in front of him. And now you can erase that away and see that this bird is covering up a little part of this bird. So you can't see the other leg and you can't see this part of the body. And let's say we want to put one more bird overlapping down here. I'm going to draw lightly. I'm going to draw the entire bird, even though I am going to have to erase some parts of it. And now if I'm overlapping, let's say this bird that I just drew is standing in front of both of these birds. So there's going to be parts of this bird that I have to erase, and there's going to be parts of this bird that I have to erase. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to have to erase the other leg from this bird. And I'm going to have to erase this area right here that would be kind of like the chin or the bottom of the head from this bird. And when I erase that all away, now it looks like this bird is standing in front of both of the other birds. So all three birds are overlapping. Now comes the part, I forgot his wing. Now comes the part of the video that you'll be able to complete only if you have materials at home. If you don't have anything to color with, then you can just stop the video here, or you can just watch me color. If you have crayons or colored pencils or markers at home, now would be the time that you could get those out and color your picture. The other thing I did want to mention before we start coloring is that you can add those patterns that we talked about. You can add details. So if I want to add a zigzag pattern to the wing, or if I want to add some polka dots to this bird, and I could add some bumpy lines here. And let's say I want to add some stripes to the wing on this bird. And what else could we add? We could add some little hearts. Any kind of pattern that you like. And let's do some more stripes on this bird. And we even have some more overlapping here because the stripes are going behind the wing. So you could just draw the line straight across, but because I already have the zigzags in here, I just started drawing the line and then stopped and then continued the line on the other side. When you're finished drawing your birds, I would love to see them. There is a way that you can upload your pictures onto your Schoology account so that I can see them and I can comment on what you've been drawing at home. So if you log into your Schoology account, you should be able to click on Art as one of your classes, and you should see on there different folders for the weeks. So far it should say artwork from the week of April 6th to 8th, because that's going to be the first week of remote learning. So you'll click on the folder, and inside of that folder should be a lesson that says bird drawings. And when you click on your bird drawing assignment, then you should be able to upload pictures of your drawings. So here is the information for you. This is the website to get to your Schoology account, and you should be able to log in with the Google account that the school gave you. This is the same login information that you would be using if you were at school, if you were in the computer lab, or if you were using your Chromebook. It's the same account that you've been using all year. Mrs. Levely said that she sent this information home to you in case you forgot. It should be on an index card. It should have been sent home. It should have been sent to your house. If you can't find that index card that has your account information, here's what you do. It should be your first name and then a period and then your last name, and you put the @ symbol, Seaford, and then another period, and then K-12, and then another period, and then DE, and then another period, and then US. And that's going to be all lowercase. You don't have to worry about capitalizing the letters in your name. For your password, it should be the first letter of your first name, and that should be capitalized. And then the first letter of your last name, and that should be lowercase. And then you're going to put in your student ID number, which is usually the same as your lunch number. Make sure there's no spaces, and then that should be your password. And that should get you into your Schoology account. If you're having problems logging into your Schoology account, you could always leave me a comment underneath this YouTube video, and I can try to help you. The other thing I want to mention before we go is that the school is still selling yearbooks, even though we aren't in school right now. Whenever we do go back to school, I would like you to have a yearbook. They're $10, and if you go to the Frederick Douglass website, then right on that page, if you scroll down a little bit under the news part of the website, there is a link that you can click to purchase your yearbook through the internet. So just so you know, we are still selling yearbooks. If you want to buy one for this school year, then you can order it online. All right, that's the end of my video, and I hope that you had fun drawing your bird, and stay tuned for our next video tomorrow. This is an optional challenge. How many birds can you draw in 1 minute? Go!